Hi, so this is a beautiful Peace Lilly that is from Good Apple, which is a tap house that's a local place my husband and I like to go. And the owner there, and I started talking about his Peace Lilly a while back because it wasn't looking so happy. It just wasn't. And so we talked a little bit about the care for the Peace Lilly, what to do for the Peace Lilly, how to make it happy. And he talked with his wife and they started taking care of it and working on it. And now it is to a point where it's healthy enough, then I am ready to get in here and see what it looks like in the soil. I'm going to be removing it from this pot. We are going to be putting it into a nursery pot, and the nursery pot comes just to the level of this one, slightly higher. It's not even going to look silly. You won't even be able to really tell, but we're going to put this into this, and then we'll put this back in. Additionally, we're also going to split him just a little bit, and we're going to do one container. And this container is going to be a beautiful little glass container. We're going to fill it with some distilled water, and we're going to put the splitting from this into the distilled water container and then give both of them back to the owner. So they'll be able to have this one on display in the normal pot, and then they'll have another break from it that'll start out in that one there. We have some decorative rocks that we're going to put in the bottom of that as well, which will make it kind of nice, and it'll hold the roots just a little bit, just in place. And then we're going to put everything together. So the first thing that we have to do is I've got to soak this thing completely because I have to remove this from the pot. So I am just going to get to work and I'm going to start soaking it. Okay, this should be good for me to get my hands down in it, and it is. So I need a container to capture the soil. Okay, so it's had a good amount of water to go in and break up some of the soil and help me out. I'm going to grab the soil, I'm going to bring it out, just little clumps if I can, and try to slowly remove some of the excess here so I can get to the roots. We're going to see if I can do this on my own. But I can tell you that there's not very many roots on the outside of this, so it's definitely going to thrive from getting a new pot that's going to be just a little bit tighter for the roots. This is going to take a while, so we'll come back in just a minute. Before we go, we're going to talk about the soil that I'm putting in the container here. So anytime you change your plants, I've talked in the past about taking soil and throwing it out in my garden and reusing it like that. Well, the other option that you can do is you can reuse soil from any plant, even if it had an infestation. Doesn't matter. What you do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and on a baking sheet, line it with some aluminum foil and bake your dirt. Take your dirt, put it in the oven, and you bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And what it'll do is it'll bake out any pests, any icky impurities or anything like that that's in the soil, any fungus. It's great. So if you can do that and save your soil and reuse it, you can bake it, and then after you're done, you can buy the fertilizer granules that you can just put in the soil. And when you do your soil mix, you can put together whatever you want, put in whatever type of fertilizer you want, and you can reuse your soil. So I don't want anybody to throw away soil because obviously, I mean, it's dirt, it's good, it can be reused. And I know people freak out when they have infestations and they just completely dump out all their soil, run away and restart. Well, don't waste that soil, use it. All right, we're breaking it up. We've got a lot of dirt clumped in here that's not doing anything. And even after the soaking that I gave it, this dirt's still dry. So this is too big of a pot for the Peace Lily. So let's talk about the Peace Lily while I'm digging in the dirt here. And let's talk about some of the care. So Peace Lilies are extremely fussy. They're hilarious. They like to throw fits almost instantly when they're underwatered, or when they're not happy, or when your water has too many minerals in it. Pretty much anytime a Peace Lily is not happy, they lay right down. And the cool thing about the way that they lay is you can have a Peace Lily lay down because it needs to get watered, and go soak that Peace Lily completely, give it nice watering, and then when you're done doing that, you can watch the Peace Lily leaves come back up again and get happy, which you can see here. There were a bunch that were kind of laying down first when I hosed, and now they're coming back up. So Peace Lilies are really, really, really resilient. They don't take a lot of finesse. What it is they need to acclimate to what you're doing and how you want to care for them. And once they acclimate to it, they're totally fine. And what I mean by that is there's a couple things about Peace Lilies to talk about. So I just talked about them being fussy and their leaves laying down and all of that. Well, let's talk about a couple of those items that I mentioned. So one, watering. When you dehydrate a Peace Lily, it lays down. That's just number one right there. Number two, when you water a Peace Lily, sometimes, depending on where you're at and depending on what is in your tap water, the Peace Lily will react to any minerals in the water that it doesn't like, or any additives. So a lot of times, and this is if you have that option, distilled water is extremely good for it. If you don't have the ability to do distilled water, you can take your faucet water, your sink water, and put it into a pitcher the night before you want to water. Leave your pitcher opened, leave the top off of it, and leave it on the counter. And what it'll do is some of the stuff will actually come out and evaporate out of the water while it's sitting overnight, and then you can water your Peace Lily. So that way you're not giving it necessarily hard tap water right from the faucet. You're allowing some of that stuff to dissipate from it. The other option, boil some water. Get some of the impurities out of it and boil it. So, okay, I think I have as much as I can get out here. I'm going to wash my hand off here really quick, and I'm going to see if I can move this off of the container, and we are going to rotate it forward, and I'm going to lay this pot completely down, and I'm going to see if I can grab it by putting my hands completely inside of the pot and starting to wiggle it out. I think that's going to be the best way, and so you can see how much soil I brought out here. This soil, I made an area that's going to allow me to kind of grab the root ball, and I played with the roots a little bit to feel where it's at. So I'm going to set this aside. We'll come back in just a minute when it's laid back on its side. Okay. Oh, this is wonderful. This pot's bulge on here is making it actually extremely nice. We can use that to make it not roll. Let's see. Oh, that's great. Okay. Woo! There we go. Man, look at that baby. All right. back ever so slightly. I don't want that on the edge here. Here is our Peace Lilly. Oh, she looks so pretty. The roots look really good. Can you see all these roots here in the front? These just look absolutely lovely. All right, let's clean it. Okay, so as I'm cleaning this off here, I'm kind of inspecting it to see where I'm going to split a couple splits from it. I want to show you the size. So this is the one it's going to go into. And if we look at it, the way it is right now, that's pretty accurate for the size. But I want to show you how beautiful they look, and I already told Rob that I was going to give him back some in a little jar. So I do want to take a tiny split from it. It'll make it a little healthier. It'll give it a little bit more room. Peace lilies are not like our viney ones. So I love pothos, all of those, but you cannot clip like a clipping of a peace lily and put it in and root it. Unfortunately, the only way to do it is by splits. So if you look underneath here, you can see little bunches that are created, and these are off of the main plant and not actually attached to the mother plant. So right here, you can see that this one looks like a really good split. And what happens is it creates its own pup runoff, and it's kind of tubular, and will go through the roots and shoot up new shoots. And then you can just split those off and take some of the roots that have grown with it, and then you can put it into a different container. This one over here has already split multiple times, so we've got one starting in the beginning here, we've got a split and then another split. So this is a really good chunk that we can take out, which will take quite a bit of roots here, and it'll free up a little bit of area for the plant to kind of thrive. So I think we're going to do that one. And then I'm just kind of looking. I saw one earlier when I was going through the roots and cleaning. This one right here is gorgeous. This split is like already creating another one underneath, and I'm willing to bet that a little bit of wiggle will take it out. So we're going to get it really, really wet, and we're going to see if we can wiggle it. So now that we have the root ball extremely well, I'm just going to hold it in the pot to kind of gauge how far down I need to start my soil, or how deep I need to put the bottom layer of my soil before I put this in. Also, just like my other plants, I want just the bottom layer to not have roots in the very, very bottom, but pretty much I want to hold it to where the roots are going all the way down into this pot. And I'm pretty sure that we can see. Let's wiggle. All right, so I can pull a little, but I don't want to. We're going to put this just about that level right there, and the roots are going to touch down. So I'm going to fill it approximately 2 inches before we put this in. And we're going to talk about the soil mix here I put together just for this video. So I use this container for measurements to be able to do my mix. So I know it's not exact, but I'll kind of put a ballpark idea of how much it is ratio-wise and put together a little snippet. As soon as I'm done talking about this, you'll be able to see it. Okay, I did 8 scoops of cocoa coir in this container. I did 2 big full scoops of charcoal. I did 1 full bag of perlite, 2 bags of orchid bark, and then 1 bag of cactus soil. After I was done with that, I put about, I would say, 2 cups of sand in it as well. And this mixture, along with the charcoal, is going to be amazing. And it's going to offer a very safe home for this plant to thrive. It's going to allow for root rot to not happen. I'm going to talk with Rob about what to do for watering so that he knows how to water this and take care of it. It's going to be much more manageable because they'll actually be able to pick up the plant and take it out of the pot itself, go water it, and then bring it back over. So it's going to eliminate any bugs coming to the bottom base area because there won't be a bunch of water. It's going to be much easier for them to maintain. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple scoops in here and get this going. I'm going to show you this. So for the mix, I want to pull out a couple pieces here. Here we go. So we can see charcoal pieces. And there's small pieces, there's big pieces. They've broken up. There's some right there. Big chunky bark. You can feel the sand in it. It feels great. I'm going to try this mix on some of my monsteras and a couple pothos, and I'm going to see how they like it, because this is the mix that's just specifically for tropical and like the whole Peace Lilly. All right, I think I have my level. So I have it to approximately right there. That's about where my level is. So you can see, I just put it on the side. But I've got a nice little level there. Now we're going to take this bad boy, and I'm going to hold this in. I'm not going to set it completely down, although I might have to. And then pull it up. Yeah, we're going to set down. We're going to put a couple scoops in, and then we're going to pull up. I'm just making sure that I don't have any leaves that I broke. I'm not leaving any icky. Making sure it's kind of comfy and cozy. It's not going to wiggle. And they won't have to pull it out and water it if they don't want to. They can water it directly in the pot still. But I prefer taking it to the sink so that I can actually watch about 15% of the water that's going in the top coming out of the bottom. So when you hit that point where you've got the faucet going on full blast and you're seeing about 15% of the water coming out of the bottom, that means that your soil is completely saturated and it's actually allowing the excess to trickle out really well. So you got to allow more time to soak up. So this guy is completely done and ready. What we're going to do is we're going to soak it really quick. All right. We're going to give a nice little refresh from the top down. So a nice little watering. Give me an opportunity to see some I didn't see. There we go. And then we're going to give it a dang good soak. There it goes. Just now, is it? Yep, just now starting to trickle out. And it's burping and bubbling. So while this is doing that, we're going to talk about this guy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to clean this off as best as we can. This is the one I'm going to keep here, and I'm going to put in its own little jar and make it healthy, hopefully. See if I can bring it back. But I'm going to do the same thing with everything, and I'm just going to clean it off. I'm going to inspect the roots here since it was dying off. I want to see if there's any rot or anything that we need to remove. So looking at this one, definite signs of rot in there. It's not happy. We're just going to go right in and clean it. I'm actually going to jet it. Don't judge me. Okay, that cleaned off some of the rot. Yeah, there was definitely something down in there. I honestly, this leaf is falling off. There we go. We're just going to take it down and we're going to break it to the rhizome there, and we're going to start from scratch. It's got a front one that's nice and pretty, and then what we'll do is we'll put some cinnamon on the ends here that I just did. So we're going to put some cinnamon on that. I'm going to just sprinkle so we can see. It's got some really dark spots, so this definitely had some problem. But we're just going to completely cover it with cinnamon. I'm going to cover some of that. Alright. So sprinkle off the excess. It's going to make the water look kind of brown. I totally don't care. But we'll set that one aside. We don't need cinnamon for the healthy ones, but we do need the hose. Okay, so I gave this pot a really good cleaning. got nothing left inside except some water. So we're going to see if this worked. I haven't even put it inside and tested it because I had a plant in it. So hopefully. And look how pretty that looks. Yeah, I like that a lot. So this is my recommendation for decorative pots. Try to find a pot that you can put into the pot and make sure it's a nursery pot. Now to water this plant, rather than picking up this big thing here, all they have to do is just simply put their hands in, grab their plant, and pick it up. It's obviously a lot heavier right now because it's fully soaking wet and full of water. But it's going to be super, super happy like this. So we're going to take this back, and then in 1 second, we'll put together the glass jar. That is all you have to do. You fill the water line up just a little bit above where the bases are. I'm going to put a tiny bit more. There we go. And the roots will start growing down into the pebbles there, and all you have to do is just add water once a month, add a little hydroponic fertilizer. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm super excited that you got to hang out and watch this beautiful Peace Lily be taken apart. I do need to get it back over to Good Apple so that they can have this back in their floor and look beautiful for everybody else enjoying their beverages. So thank you again for coming and watching, and as always, I am definitely one plant short of crazy.